Welcome to Making Sense of English. Today's video comes by request. There are many ways to express preferences in English. Today, I'm going to talk about expressing preferences with would love for and would hate for. These two structures are quite interesting because the meaning they convey depends on three factors: the words that are used, the situation they're used in, and the tone of what is being said. You might think that the word love is always used in a positive way, and the word hate is always used in a negative way. But as you'll soon see, that is not always the case. Before we begin, I need to make sure that everyone watching knows that I'd stands for I would. Would is a modal verb used in this case to express a desire. You can use other subject pronouns with love for and hate for, and each of them have contracted forms, such as she'd, he'd, they'd, and we'd. For example, she'd love for you to come to the party. He'd hate for you to miss the event. They'd love for you to join them for dinner. And we'd hate for you to leave hungry. Both I'd love for and I'd hate for express a preference or wish for something. Of course, the words love and hate express opposite feelings. However, as you'll see in the examples, everything depends on context. And remember, tone gives us more information about the feeling of what is being said, even when the words are the same. The exact same words said in a different tone convey a different, at times opposite, meaning. Later in this video, I'll give examples and an explanation of 3 different tones. But first, let's look at 5 sentence structures you can use with would love for and would hate for. I'm going to try not to focus too much on grammar in this video. I've created a supplement that you can find in the description if you'd like to explore the grammar a bit more. For now, I'll just give you the 5 structures and then some examples and a little explanation. There are a lot more examples in the supplement. You can use I'd love for or I'd hate for with 5 sentence structures. The first one, which uses an infinitive phrase, is probably the most common structure. The second uses a gerund, which is a verb functioning as a noun, for example, dancing. The third uses an adjective. The fourth uses relative clauses, and the final structure uses there to be. When using I'd hate for and I'd love for, you'll often see the infinitive. The infinitive phrase starts with to, followed by a base verb. For example, I'd love for you to leave a comment below. Put another way, I really want you to leave a comment below, or I would love if you left a comment, or I would really like you to leave a comment. What are you waiting for? Tell me in a comment something you'd love for me to make a video about. Remember I said that love isn't always used in a positive way and hate isn't always used in a negative way? Let's look at hate first. If I say to a student, I'd hate for you to fail, this is similar to saying, I don't want you to fail. Put positively, I really want you to succeed. So what's the difference? What additional information does I'd hate for you to fail convey? When we use this structure, there are conditions to the failure. For example, if you do not pass the final exam, you will fail the course, and that would be unfortunate because you have the potential to pass. We get a sense of warning in the expression, I'd hate for you to fail. Ultimately, the speaker is expressing hope that the student will study and pass. Now remember, tone is also important. Let's consider tone in the next example. Look at the picture. Can you use I'd love for you plus an infinitive to create a sentence? Pause the video and do it. I'll wait. Okay, got your sentence? Is it I'd love for you to do the dishes, or I'd love for you to wash the dishes? If someone is tired and pulling more weight than their spouse, they might say this with more frustration than love in their voice. I'd love for you to do the dishes. But if you've just had a baby and your mother comes over to help out around the house and asks what she can do to help, you would use a different tone. I'd love for you to do the dishes. Can you hear the difference? Frustrated? I'd love for you to do the dishes. Thankful for someone's help. I'd love for you to do the dishes. Later in the video, I'll give you a more detailed example to highlight differences in tone. I'll show you how the same words spoken in different contexts with different tones carry a different meaning. For now, let's move on to gerunds. A gerund is a verb that acts like a noun and ends in ing. Can you guess the gerund for the next example based on the picture? What are they doing? They're dancing. Now, in that sentence, the verb is not acting as a noun, so it is not a gerund, but in the next example, it will be. Here's the example. They'd love for dancing to be an after-school activity before they do their homework. For more examples with gerunds, check out the link in the description below. Let's look at examples with adjectives next. Adjectives add descriptive information and provide more details. For example, I'd hate for this issue to become a major problem. In this example, the structure includes a noun phrase, this issue, modified by an adjective, major, providing a more detailed description of the potential problem. However, this is not the only way to include an adjective. There are many more examples in which the adjective comes at the end of the sentence and the noun is not repeated. For example, I'd love for my YouTube channel to become popular. I'd hate for the experience to be disappointing. And I'd love for the project to be successful. We understand that the adjective is describing the preceding noun, and it's not necessary to say, for example, I'd love for the project to be a successful one. Now, let's look at the fourth structure. In this structure, a relative clause is used. For example, I'd love for the ideas that were discussed to be implemented. Here, that were discussed is the clause specifying which ideas the speaker wants to be implemented. Another example is they'd love for the workers who were injured to be compensated. In this case, who were injured specifies which workers they want to be compensated. As with the other structures, you can find additional examples in the link in the description. And feel free to write your own examples in the comments below if you have a question about a particular structure that you'd like me to check. There are certainly other possibilities using relative clauses. I wanted to include one last pattern despite its similarity to the infinitive structure. This structure follows the pattern where the complement to be is used to introduce the purpose or action. Examples include, I'd hate for there to be any misunderstanding. I'd love for there to be lots of engagement in the comments. I'd hate for there to be no interaction. I'd love for there to be open communication. Now that we've covered all 5 structures, let's talk about tone. I cannot emphasize the importance of tone enough. In English, tone carries more meaning than words. The same exact words, spoken in a different tone, convey a different meaning. As a child, one of my most vivid memories is of my mother saying, "Watch your tone." Interestingly, I inherited her somewhat flat tone. So if tone is difficult for you, I understand. It's something that can take practice to vary. I'm going to give you 3 examples of the same statement said in 3 different tones. Context is important, so I'll give you 3 different situations. Are you ready? The first situation is 2 people, a couple, let's say. One of them smokes and the other really dislikes smoking. She's tired of the house being full of smoke. Her tone will convey a strong dislike for the behavior of smoking. For example, I'd love for you to stop smoking. The tone is firm and low, and there is extra stress on the final 2 words. I'd love for you to stop smoking. In the second situation, the person will be expressing a less emotional preference because the smoking does not have as strong effect on them as it did the person in the first situation. Maybe it's the first year of their relationship and they have not had to put up with it for as long. The tone will be more neutral and a bit higher. I'd love for you to stop smoking. In the third and final situation, the smoker has expressed a desire to stop smoking, and the speaker is simply being supportive of their decision. It will be said in a higher tone that conveys a lack of judgment and unconditional support. I'd love for you to stop smoking. Can you hear which word has the most stress in this example? It's love. Again, I'd love for you to stop smoking. I hope you enjoyed learning about the 5 structures you can use to express a preference or desire using would love for and would hate for. Remember, input is great, but if your goal is to communicate with others, output is even better. So comment with your own example using one or more of the structures in today's video. Perhaps you could tell me something you'd love for me to make a video about. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.